Yeah, are we okay, Bill? Recording? Oh, you're muted.
All right, we are recording. It's August 10th, 2017.
Great. Oh, welcome. This is, we're calling it now the Abundance Supply Encounter. We were on a journey, so the name keeps changing according to the revelation that we get. So we're not taking camp in one area. So I know it's a bit confusing, but that's the nature of the journey we're on. So we're basically felt a mandate today around harmony in relationships and just tapping into the abundant supply of harmony and unity that exists in the age of new beginnings. So we're wanting to go into a description of what's in Revelation 21 and 22, the New Jerusalem. But what we're seeing is that our bodies are a reflection of the New Jerusalem. So we are the temple. So we have gates. We have a river running through us. We have God's throne seated in us. And we have the scriptures talk about the river dividing into 4 streams. And that's what we're seeing is happening when we're going in the 4 chambers of the heart, i.e. the dance floor, the soaking room, the God's garden, and the bridal chamber. The reason we're going in those is because we're how do I say it? We're going. Our body is a reflection, so we have 4 chambers in our heart that reflect the 4 rivers, and we're dealing governmentally through those first intimacy encounters, which then we operate governmentally out of the 4 rivers, which are the 4 chambers of our heart. So if we can get our heads around the fact that we don't go to church, we are the temple. And there's so many things in our body that reflect the heavenly temple. And what else is there? Some of us are seeing a lot of revelation around a lot of things that physically in our brains that represent spiritual concepts, in our glands, all sorts of things to show that the body is the temple as well. It's not we're not trying to rebuild a physical building, different expressions of buildings and how to do building type church, where you go to a big meeting and that's a new expression. The expression is within. So what I'd like you to do is just, as we go together, let's go together through Jesus, the door. He's our gate, and we want to go to the highest, through the veil of life, to the most intimate place in the Holy of Holies. We don't want to be in an outer court experience or an inner court. We want the most intimate experience, and we just go into this expression we're calling the New Jerusalem, which is where we can see ourselves in the river flowing from God's throne, forms a waterfall as it comes out. The God's garden is on the right hand side, and there's a city on the left made of glass. So we're also seeing we can have a city within our own city, and the river flows down and flows into 4 streams. But also you can also see yourself as having 12 gates, like a cube. So you almost see like a cube shape. You're in the center of this cube shape, and you can choose to open all those gates in one go, which sort of releases, seems to me to feels like it releases a flow. And you can feel this flow happening, which seems connected with when you arc as a tree over the river of life. Oh yeah, so we've got the tree of life in there next to the river, Jesus, and we're the other tree on the other side. We arc and we form this flow, so we sort of almost breathe. We get this breathing action going in where we breathe in so many different elements, which creates this flow. The gates are open, the flow is happening from the river of life, and that's almost when we can get the greater revelation going. We've got this flow happening. So we're breathing. Yeah, we're breathing in everything that heaven has for us, the revelation, everything the Father wants to transmit to us. Just see what you can feel with the tree of life. As you see Jesus as a tree of life with fruits on it, 12 fruits each month, and just see if you connect with those fruits, what they mean to you. And something might be happening if you, as you see yourself as a tree and forming this flow and this connection over the river, you might sense that your roots need to go deeper, go down deeper and deeper, so that you can't move. You just can't move away from this source of the river. It's a constant supply. And that's how we can live in dual realms permanently, because this supply is just happening. Even if we're busy doing something on the earth, the supply is happening. And all we have to do is breathe, and we can't just switch our consciousness to breathing in this, and we can connect instantly with the flow of heaven. And we don't want to go away from that, because the roots are so deep. And then we're seeing we can plant trees on our mountains. Well, not plant, produce trees that come out of our roots that spring up another tree, because the flow is just happening there. So there's a natural flow. So much of it becomes about less effort. So as we've got this flow going, you may want to really re-engage this another time and get used to this pattern. But let's set our hearts now on our mandate of getting abundant supply in relationships. We know unity and one body is a huge heavenly blueprint that we have just not seen fulfilled either in the ecclesia or in our families. in our working scenarios, so much discord. Let's recognize we can have abundant flow into those relationships. Harmony is our, what's the word? Inheritance. So to deal with things, we don't have to go back the old way through the courts and all the familiar spirits that are plaguing us. We can choose to rise to a higher age, a higher realm in heaven, and draw on this abundant supply as a different way of operating. So do just share if you see anything else you're being led about harmony in or getting this abundant supply going in relationships. Oh, I must just share one thing, because I was thinking what else was in this scenario that I've encountered, and it's all relevant to relationships, is on the right of the garden, God's garden, I have encountered a mountain of joy, and it's a place where you meet the body and the ecclesia and the cloud of witnesses. And for me, when I've gone up this mountain of joy, I go there when I just want to engage the ecclesia, and it's just such a happy place, and it's often a celebration place. And for me, it's like I go up this mountain and like all the trees are clapping and rejoicing and singing God's praise, and then I get to the top of the mountain and I'm greeted by this massive cloud of witnesses, and often they're like rejoicing that I've arrived there, and often I'll get lifted up by them or celebrated in some way. I just love going here, and that's just where I'm feeling now, that that's a relevant part to draw on the supply of the mountain of joy for abundance in relationships.
Jane, do you want us to talk about what we saw as you were talking?
Yes, please share anything.
Okay. As you were talking about the fruit and everything, I saw what looked like golden bowls. And at first I thought it was fruit that looked like golden bowls, but then I started looking closer and just looked like bowls, and they had some liquid in it. And as I was looking, I was sensing it was oil. And I'm just wondering if it's something, I put down here in my notes that I'm just sensing to go and pour that oil out on people. I don't know if that resonates with anyone, so I'll just.
Morning. I'm reminded of the scripture that says the oil of gladness for the spirit of heaviness.
I was hearing oil of joy as Donna shared.
When Jane, when you were talking about the trees and going deep, I saw well, in CNSS trees, I saw right before I saw all the trees, I saw like a key, like a brightness. And then I saw this key drop, and you were talking about fruit, and I felt like, in a sense, the key was a fruit. And then I saw like I want to say an orchard, but I can't say they were, not an apple trees, but I saw many trees by the river.
Thank you.
When you were talking about the trees and our roots going deep down, as my root was sinking deep and deep, I realized that it has branches and it's joining other roots from other people's tree. It's like, even though individually we are sinking deep, we are holding hands by our roots. We are holding hands, getting connected together as in a circle, and sinking deep together in union.
That's lovely.
Yeah, a deeply rooted network.
Yeah. So almost like seeing us like we're all trees with all the roots connected together.
I see this network is hidden and protected at the same time because it's underground.
And it's like we sinking deeper, in tune to a rhythm, a consistent rhythm. As we hear it, it's like we sink deeper and deeper, and it keeps ringing, like different instruments coming together, and the rhythm energizes the sinking.
That's good, Patience. I felt a vibration as our roots were going deeper. So I totally agree with you.
I'm seeing something around that word when you were saying protection, as if there was some revelation around that.
Yeah, I felt it was very significant too that it was underground.
Yes.
But and from the surface, it didn't seem like that much was going on underground, and I felt that it was very significant. So I agree with you. I feel like it was significant that because it was a lot. It was a huge network. I think Patience said that underground. That's what I saw.
There was something you had said, Jane, that something about breathing in. I don't know, and Jesus was the tree, and we were arcing with Jesus. So when I literally saw myself, I became the tree. And as my limbs went out, I breathed in the Father, and I felt like the four winds. I felt the fullness, the tone note vibration. I felt the oneness. I don't know how to explain it. I felt the frequency, his frequency in every part of when I'm breathing in, which caused my roots to go deeper, deeper.
Oh, that's interesting.
As Jill was talking, I heard this phrase, the life is in the roots.
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting this. I'm getting a connection between the deeper the roots are personally for us all, the deeper we can connect at a deeper level underground, so to speak, which provides a protection and causes unity to come almost subconsciously without us realizing it. Whereas if our roots are shallow and we're not drinking off this river, and we're sort of, you know, we don't have the fruits of the spirit, we're very irritable and tetchy, and we're taking offense everywhere, and we're insecure and all that, and the roots are really shallow, it's very hard to have harmony and work in unity with someone, and even do an encounter where we're all on the same page. So I almost can see like a mandate for putting those roots deeper, calling for the roots to go deeper for the ecclesia. So the deeper they get, the more the unity will be a fruit. We won't actually have to work at it and think what are all the key strategies we need to discern to bring unity. It will just begin to happen.
Another word I'm hearing, Jane, is strength. A tree, a tree that has a serious root system is, it's even tough for a bulldozer to move it.
Oh, yes. Strength, did you say?
Strength, yeah.
Strength, yeah.
Great strength in the roots.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you know the facts about trees, but if they if there's a drought and things, the roots all come to the surface. They're desperate for water, and then if the roots are really high near the surface and not deep, one day a tiny little bit of effect from the weather, wind or a strong rainstorm, can just knock the tree over. It's quite amazing. I've had it happen in my land here, and just tree after tree just falling over at the drop of a hat, because it's so dependent on the deepness of the roots to stand up strongly against the weather.
Jane, we were talking about roots going deeper. I've heard the word or phrase taproot. And I know that many trees have one kind of central root that goes down the deepest and furthest. And I think it's called the taproot. It's the one that's going down and seeking water and such. So that when you're thinking about your roots going deep, you might also kind of feel that one root just going way down and other roots following it.
I also want to add to Simona's when she said strength, I've been sensing stability, which I think also just adds on to the strength.
Yeah, I mean, stability is, oh gosh. To have any form of unity in anything, whether it's the ecclesia or whether it's in a family, you've got to have stability in people.
Wouldn't intimacy be the key to the deeper, to the unity, to be in the, the one sound, the one heart, the one. And I agree with Bill. I saw one really strong root, and it does, looked up the definition of taproot. It is like that.
What's standing out to me is the work that has to be done by the taproot to find the source so that even the other roots can find the source. And once the taproot finds the source, the rest of the roots can find it, which, you know, just strengthens the roots, strengthens the whole tree and the roots, all the other roots even the more. So it's significant. I mean, so I don't know, what zoomed into me was the work. Well, I don't know if I would say work, but there's got to be responsibility of the taproot to find the source so that everybody can access the source.
Oh, that's good, Simone.
Can I just read Ephesians 3, verse 17, 18, says that Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith, that you being rooted and grounded in love may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the breadth and length and depth and height, and to know the love of Christ, which is intimacy, which passes knowledge, that you may be filled with the fullness of God.
That's superb.
Rooted and grounded means rooted is trees and grounded is foundations, I believe.
And I keep hearing the word nourishment. Nourishment.
Yeah, I'm getting some insights on what is needed to have this taproot take its place deeper down. It's linked with some recent revelation I've been having around operating from eternity more and the age of Zion. But it's linked with having God's government totally in our lives as opposed to any element of our government. So when we have certain gates closed, that means our government is still ruling, our personal government is still ruling a little bit, and it's stopping those roots going really down as far as they can. So the goal is to get God's government totally over our body, soul, and spirit, and then they all become in alignment under God. This is like the journey we're on. How do we actually get God's government totally over our lives? And I see a lot of it's to do with the complete submission of the gates. We choose to say, I will open all my gates. I will choose to accept whatever comes at me as an expression of heaven. I won't fight it. I will trust it's the best for me. And then that sort of ties in with being a complete living sacrifice, because to be a complete living sacrifice, you have to just say anything goes that's heaven. And that's hard for all of us because the expressions we're seeing are so new and such a shock to us. They're just such a shock that it takes a while to adjust. So that's the journey we've got to go on, of asking ourselves how much are we willing to submit to these revelations we're having.
May I share something? I had a vision last year, and I was at a conference, and it was the one up in Coeur d'Alene with Ian and Justin and some other people, and I saw Father on his throne, the lion, the ox, the eagle, the man. His head was spinning. It was spinning. And I saw everyone around me and me, our heads were all spinning, lion, ox, eagle, man. But we were all going at different speeds, at different, just different speeds, different frequency. Just everybody was just different. There were, some were going all to the left, some were going to the right. Everybody was different. And as I was watching, I saw that as Father, I could see his eyes, and it was almost like he was breathing, he was releasing his frequency, and everyone started to slowly start going in the same direction, and started, like, everybody started to come into the sound, the tone note, the frequency of the Father, until everybody was lion, ox, eagle, man. Everybody's head was spinning at the same rotation, the same way as one. It was very powerful.
Oh, oh, oh. That is superb. So the same rotation. God.
Yeah, it came from Father. He did it. He came from him. And I was watching. I was watching. It was like it was really powerful. It totally wrecked me. I got extremely whacked.
Yeah, well, I had that same the head spinning thing, and that's how I knew we were to operate out of all four faces together and not to separate them into different functions. So I can really resonate with me doing that. I've just never seen the ecclesia all together rotating at the same speed. That is awesome.
On the
I
chat,
believe
we have the word harmony and the word synchronization, question mark.
What does synchronization mean? Oh, that everyone doing the same thing, isn't it? Like in a
coming into same phase or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, which might be the phase we're in is calling people up to operate from these higher ages so that we can all operate on the same, and we're not bringing confusion as to, well, some people say do it this way, some people say do it that way, and it's all, we're starting to get this, who do you follow? Do you follow this person or do you follow that person, which is really dangerous. And whether somehow we've got to get on the same page. And I see that's actually one of the mandates of Ecclesia Framework, and why I have felt this intense desire to understand what everyone else is doing and how it fits into the big picture. And I think I can see it now, and I can explain why there's differences in different arcs. But I'm also looking at the big picture of what's ahead, even beyond this. I mean, this is still not the full picture what we're doing here. I'm taking you here because I think it's a necessary platform for the next stage, because I do really see we've got to get this breathing going on. If this is not a natural breathing and seeing yourself as a tree, there's some instability there that will not sustain you in eternity. You won't be able to cope with it or know how to govern and rule up there. So you'll have to go down the ages to get that stability. Oh, so what's just coming to me is what we're doing today is actually bringing a lot of people, what's the word, causing this taproot to sink lower. This revelation of how to operate here, which is then, linked with what Jill's saying, is then linked as the taproot's going deeper, I'm seeing for the ecclesia, it's causing this synchronicity and these heads all spinning together.
I totally believe it's the Father's heart, his desire, his love that's calling out or calling forth or causing this to his breath. Everything is living. I just feel like there's something that he is doing, he is releasing to cause this to come into unity.
Oh, that's interesting, Jill. I'm actually seeing the opposite. I'm seeing it's the choices of the sons, the mature sons, of what they're doing in the heavenly realms, that's opening up gates and doors to allow God's heart to flow through the river, so to speak.
Yeah,
So,
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
yeah.
It's the relationship. It's the relationship that each one of them has that is causing the increase.
Yeah.
To flow.
So I think that's the kind of revelation I'm trying to share with people, because I think the concept the ecclesia generally has is it's all up to God, and he's choosing this time and this phase to do this and that, rather than all creations groaning for the manifest sons to really take their place. So heaven's waiting for us to learn all this governmental stuff, and then it allows that river to flow, because God's always wanted that river, but he couldn't do it because our gateways were so blocked and they were so resonating at a low level. Our waters in our body were just vibrating at such a low level, we couldn't hear the greater revelation. So we were stuck in a lot of religious protocol. And when we let that go, God's free to speak to us. That is actually, he operates in a completely different way. So I'm just wondering if there's any governmental act we need to do to facilitate this, or whether it's just happened by the fact we're dialoguing this scenario. Because this is a really interesting concept I'm discovering myself now as I'm operating more from eternity. It's like I am there. I'm setting my heart on a blueprint, and I'm benching with the Godhead, and then things just happen, and I don't even have to do a governmental act anymore. It just happens from my being.
Kind of like a form of telepathy.
Yes, I suppose you could say it like that. Can you really? It's you think the thought, you set your heart on something, and bam, it's just done. It's like it's created something through that heart's desire. Well, it was more than that. It's the heart's desire aligning with the heavenly blueprint, God's heart. When the two are matched, are in unity, whew, there's just light and creation, and things happen. So that's almost the sense I'm getting now, is we don't have to do anything. We've exposed this way of operating, and so we've come into alignment with the heavenly blueprint, and it's done.
This might be a tangent, but as you're saying that, what's coming to me is this is how we can relocate, get to where we need to go based on what heaven's directive is. It's just that simple.
Mm.
Now, I haven't done that yet, but when you said that, that's what came to me.
Mm.
So I thought that was interesting.
I agree, Simone. I'm getting those same sense as well. This is how we tap into the supply. I think the problem is we've had people say, just general statements, like we just develop intimacy with Father, and then people are like, well, how do I do that? And I think this gives them a way that's really scriptural, but also communicates more than just love. It's a deeper revelation that it shows about governmental side as well as intimacy. It's like the two combined. So I'm just setting my heart now. I just feel this real strong desire to set my heart on a much deeper root system for the ecclesia, such that it will bring greater unity. But also I really sense a strong mandate for family harmony. There's so much discord in families that it is destabilizing people's walk in heaven, because the chaos and the conflict and the things that are going on with divorces and children and abuse and pornography and it's just a mess, is causing huge destabilization, which is causing people to not send their roots deeper, but actually bring them up to the surface to deal with this chaos. It's like just going to panic mode. I've got to do something. I would do this, instead of doing the opposite of going into rest and deepening that taproot, and then letting the rest take care of itself, because you're drawing from that source and you're able to govern over that chaos.
Jane, I was just making a personal note that when this ascension is finished, that Elspeth and I, we would just rule in our current circumstance for harmony and unity. And then you said it, and the scripture that came to mind was Psalm 133, where it says, "Behold how good and pleasant it is for the brothers to dwell in unity." It is like the precious ointment or oil on the head that ran down the beard, Aaron's beard that went to the mouth of his garments, like the dew of Hermon that came on the mountains of Zion. And there Jehovah commanded the blessing, life forevermore.
Oh, wow.
That's the oil Donna was talking about.
See, I was just about to say that. Woo! We've come
Our
full
King.
When you're in the soaking room, do you often see oil coming, like an oily rain? What do you see in the soaking room?
Actually, Jane, it hasn't been in the soaking room, but the Lord has showed me what I call an oil room, and there was bottles upon bottles of oil in these little bottles. And in that room, there was a table, and there was this beautiful, beautiful decanter. But the other oil bottles were dusty. So thinking about it now is, well, the Lord had me go in there and grab some oil for particular people and go and pour it out over them in the spirit. And then, but he gave those certain people different fragrances. And as I was pouring it out over them, I gave them the fragrance that the Lord said that it was for them, their oil. Then there was one time we got that oil, and him and I went in the spirit, and actually, this is a couple of years ago, we actually poured it out over Israel. And I thought, oh, wow. And we were speaking life to the whole nation of Israel. I don't know what transpired at that time. But anyway, so it's kind of reminding me of what you're talking about in the soaking room. Do people get oil? And so when we were talking about the oil earlier, I kept going back to that vision that he's given me to, sometimes I'll go in to that oil room, grab a bottle, dust it off. And one time he was sitting at the table filling that decanter, that oil bottle that I grabbed for someone, and filled it up with the oil that was in his bottle. And I just wept, So I don't know if anyone else has had that type of experience, but I call it the oil room. So.
Do we need to address this issue concerning the family? Because going back to what we were talking about, the family, I'm seeing the family as a big part of the roots. Is anybody seeing that?
Oh, meaning that
Yes.
the family is the cornerstone of society.
Yes. It's the foundation of exactly. It's the foundation of the roots, if you will.
Yeah.
Because the roots are literally a representation of the family, because a root produces a root. And if that's not in place, that's a huge problem. I mean, that's a huge issue. That's what I'm seeing.
Mm.
I'm saying we do we need to address this dysfunction that's going on with the family so that healthy, strong fruits will be produced?
I think I'm seeing something like that. You know, when we were talking about the family right now, I saw the roots shrinking. It looks like the healthy, good root that was sinking down is us as individuals. But when we're talking about the family, I saw the family roots shrinking instead of going down, coming up, shrinking and coming up. So I think we should address it.
Mm.
Yeah, because in a family unit, I mean, just because of the nature of a family, harmony is automatically in a family, a good, healthy family. Unity is automatically in a family. And it's such a compact representation in its nature of what we're trying to produce. I don't know if I'm articulating that well. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, because of the love that's in a healthy family, the harmony is there, the unity is there to push each other forward, to do the best for each other. So I think this is a serious cornerstone we need to deal with.
Yeah, I would agree.
I agree. I would say that for the last couple of months, I've actually walked through stuff like this. My dealing with my bloodline, I had to deal with, the Lord told me to deal with some things because there's things in my bloodline I didn't even know that were there that were causing confusion, was causing, like, I can't even explain it, but it was trying to cause separation. There were things that I had to deal with, and Father made me deal with them. And I have walked through this like really arid place. I felt like a dry root, but it was the cloud of witnesses was my heavenly family that has been keeping me going. But it's very, very important, as Simone is, it is very important to be infused with the oil, to be infused with the wine, be infused with the love, be infused with the light, the life of Father, to bring the unity of the family. It's his desire. It's his desire. You can't survive. What's coming can't survive without it. Bringing everybody to the same oneness, one face. That has to happen too.
I'm getting the image of trying to build a wall without having properly formed bricks. So that's what as Jill was talking, that's what I saw. It's
It's the foundation. The foundation has to be stored. It's like the wise man and the foolish man. The wise man built his house on the rock. The foolish man built it on the sand. If it's not formed and founded properly, and foundation is what? The very heart of God. The Word of God is the, it's the, it's, I don't know. It's the heart of the Father. Anyway.
So is this breathing thing, is it a new thing for most on here? Because I'm feeling like we've got to just do more breathing. But if it's not a concept you're familiar with, then I'm just sensing this is what we've got to do to get this stability going.
We can learn.
Do you know what I mean by it? Has my explanation kind of infused into your spirits, or are you still confused how you get this breathing going?
I don't know. I just step in or boldly come before the throne and just breathe in the Father's breath and breathe it in and do Yod He Vav He until I'm like, I feel like I'm just in sync with the realm of the Father. It's like a realm forms around, and it's in that realm that there's the water, the wine, the corn, the provision. Everything is, the provision is there. It's just very powerful. And I wanted to say about the oil. I've been more into the wine room. The oil actually comes out of me in different circumstances and situations when God will touch me, and I just feel like all of a sudden I become a sprinkler system, and I am spraying everyone with this oil or water. It's whatever the Lord says at the time it is, and I can see it and be released over everybody, and it shifts the situation like crazy.
So is this arcing as a tree not resonating with you at the moment, Jill? Is it something you feel like?
No, I am a tree.
Oh, you can. So you could see that.
I am a tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am a tree by rivers of water that will prosper and not perish. Yeah. I've been a tree for a long time, but yeah.
Oh,
I
good.
see it very clearly.
That sort of flow of water coming from the river through you and then going to your mountains and good.
Jane, can I ask if you could just elaborate on the breathing just to make sure that we're on the right track?
Yeah, well, it's I mean, we know the breath of God. God creates through breath, even though he breathed into us and to Adam and to create life. So we know the breath of God is a governmental act, that he uses breath. And then a lot of us have been seeing, as we are opening up to this concept, that things are then coming out of our breath. So we're wanting to breathe on things to rule and to create. And then we started seeing things like living letters coming out of our breath, gold dust, seeds. So you sort of get into this, when you're sort of on the Mount Zion and ruling a lot, you get into a lot of these breathing acts and holding your hand up and your staff, and but this is like a higher realm of that. How can I explain it? It's because when you're in New Jerusalem, you're in a higher age than you are on Mount Zion ruling. So you're tapping into a deeper source of the river, and your roots are going down, such that it's something to do with the fruits in the tree. Once the circulation's going and you can feel this flow happening. The fruits on the tree, it feels like you breathe in those. So you move on from eating them. Initially, many of us had just encounters where we engaged the tree of life independently and we ate the fruits. So this is a deeper way of doing it. So you arc over and it feels like the fruits are being, you breathe them in. And I think actually some of us have seen a connection with the 12 fruits, with the 12 strands of DNA. So I think it's also an act of bringing in and activating the 12 strands of a DNA, which is the 12 stones on the breastplate as well. It's a way of activating those by getting this breathing going on. So you're breathing in this fruit, which then means when you breathe out and create or do a governmental act over something, it's more profound, it's deeper rooted. Oh, and the difference is, the difference is between that and, say, going to God's throne or engaging the names of the Father, is that this allows a constant flow to be happening subconsciously. So we don't have to consciously engage a throne of God. We've established this flow, like a tree is permanently drinking once the roots are down there. So we're drinking, and all these things are happening to us subconsciously without effort or time involved. So that's when it becomes deeper and then I think then you're able to cope with the high level of revelation that goes beyond that. So I think the key is to constantly keep morphing in how we do things. Even if we find a way that works, and we find that quite beautiful, to keep morphing in terms of our revelation of how we operate, so that these roots are deeper. I can't tell you how profound this breathing thing has been for me recently. It's just been amazing. It's like I'm consumed with breathing. But if it's feeling like it's still a concept you can't grasp, it might need to go back a few steps. You know, and you might need to just spend some time entangling the tree of life, getting used to the fact, or even getting used to the concept you are a tree. And so go down the mountain, go down to a lower level of revelation that your spirit can embrace. If it's all too freaky and weird, you just got to build yourself up from a lower level that you can handle, and your spirit wants to do. If your spirit just wants to entangle the tree of life, then that's a good place to be.
While when you started talking about the breathing and even on previous ascensions, it's as if I'm breathing in through my nostrils, but I'm breathing out through my belly. That was why I was just asking, the breathing thing. So it's as if I'm breathing in, through my nostrils, but I'm breathing out through my belly. Weird as that might be.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talking around things coming out of their belly. Yeah, someone just said that today. They said something came out of their belly. It was like some form of creative act they were doing. I mean, that sounds like, Frederick, you've really grasped this breathing concept quite deeply. That's quite profound, that.
It must be a spirit thing, because my soul is still trying to catch up.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. You don't have to even know the theology. You don't have to know. You have to just go where your spirit, there's life and joy and freshness.
But I feel it like I breathe in through my nose in, and then I come out, I breathe out like a sprinkler. The sprinkles, it sprinkles out of all my cells, my pores just open up and like a sprinkler.
Oh, through your pores. Wow, that's really interesting.
Yes.
Huh.
I was just now breathing and just thinking about taking in the fruit and breathing in the fruit and how it's transforming my DNA. And then the thought came to me, this is how we transform into being just like God, which was what, he originally meant for us to be. And I got the biggest shock off of that. So,
Hmm.
so I'm saying that to say this is not that it's the only way, but I think this is the Father showing us how we can be transformed, um, to be really just like Him, and to even rule and govern on the level that He's governing in. That's what I got, and yeah, that's what I got.
That's good. So I'm just getting the sense that we all need to do what we feel we've been shown, or what's naturally our spirit wants to do, to which effectively is just causing these roots to go deeper, which is then causing this stability in us, and which will then cause a stability in the family unit. And and also that's it. Yeah, we hold the family in our hearts. We can do this breathing thing on this deepening the roots for over our whole family unit and other family units, to bring that stability and unity. Actually, this is really funny. I've just realized this is what happened to me yesterday. I actually had this revelation yesterday when there was something that was upsetting me and I had to do something. And this is what it was. Huh. That's right. I remember now. I was being called to a higher level to work for the ecclesia, and I was saying, I'm not ready, I can't do this. And then I said, no, okay, I agree, I'll accept. And I could, and then I felt I had to put these roots down deeper, such that I was more of a whole person myself. And then I was able to cope with all the disharmony around me, and even in the ecclesia of what was going on, it wouldn't rock me as much. So what do you feel? Shall we all just do that, and whatever expression we want?
I wanted to say something that keeps coming back. It's like 3 times it came in, so I better share it. I remember Ian, and I think I just recently heard Mark Steen talk about how they got into the presence of God, and they, breathed him in, but then they got into a place, this is like paraphrased greatly, but they got into a place where God sucked them up into his nostril. And I think Mark Steen has it on one of his latest albums or talking about it on his website. And that so fascinates me because it is all about breath. But what I would love to have Father just take me into his nostrils and just totally, vaporize me with the frequency and, but it's kind of the idea with the breath, his breath, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, just thought I'd share that.
Oh, that's interesting. So that's almost like, yeah, so it's not breathing in from the tree, it's from being in the presence of the Father.
Bingo.
We're not in him, he's breathing in us. If we're going into the Father's nostril and the kind of, he's breathing in us, isn't he?
While Jill was saying that, I was thinking of the scripture that God says that the sacrifice was a pleasant smell to his nostril. So yeah.
Mm.
Yes, we're a sweet savor to his nostrils and a sweet melody to his ears.
I'm just wondering if a lot of us haven't had that experience. I just get this real sense we haven't had that experience because some of our gates are closed.
It's we have to surrender because there can be nothing in us. There no personal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It can't, nothing, no
Yeah.
intent, no motive, no agenda.
Yeah.
Totally laying it all down.
Yeah.
To be that sacrifice. It is like the lamb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, only he can do that.
Did Mark give any idea of where he was when that happened? Like, was he in a certain throne room, the dark garden?
He, you know what? I can't remember, but I'll try to find it. It's something I downloaded just the other week. He was I think it's actually on his website, and he's talking about a situation where Father just, where he was in a place of deep, deep love, and he didn't want to share it because it was all about being in the Father's heart and complete intimacy, a very special place to him. But then Father told him to share it, so he had to. And I'm sure it's still on his website. And Ian speaks about it somewhere too. He spoke about that.
Yeah, it's interesting to know where some of these places are, isn't it? And where we are. Like, I find one of the deepest places for me is the dark cloud. But I don't know where that is, where that throne is, and is all this around the river a much lower age than that, or? Anyway, just for focusing back on the family. So let's just focus on that family and whatever mandate you're led to with the family, whether it's from every family, local families.
I have a question. You know, family in a sense, we're all priests, and you know, of the order of Melchizedek or Zadok. I mean, that's a family. I'm just going here. I don't see it as a family. I see it like as like the body, the body, the sons. Like, you know, I see that individually we have families, but I see this as a knitting of hearts to Father's family. We're Father's family.
Yeah. Now I see a real blueprint for knitting of the hearts of the Father's family together, which is so not knitted together. It's really grieving the Father's heart. So distrusting of what others say. And then we think we can hear well from God, and we can't. That's why we need each other. No one's free from mistake until you operate fully out of eternity. That's why we need each other.
You know, the thing about being a nameless, faceless, that's what Bob Jones said, that the nameless, faceless, they were going to come and facilitate the billion souls, the nameless, faceless ones.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. It's really interesting. What do you see as the nameless, faceless ones meaning?
Ones that have been tried and tested and surrendered repeatedly and trained by God. I just see totally have His complete desires, character, compassion infused in them, like they're one with Him. And that's really what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I see it as the hidden ones. No one knows their name, but He does.
I was seeing something here. I'm just going to submit this. It's just a stream that's coming to me. But I'm just going to submit this. I've seen Joseph as a type of taproot. He was part of the 12 that came from Jacob. He was the one that went out beyond the others. Even though it was through rejection, he went before them. And there, even though there was dissension among him and his brothers, there was disunity, dysfunction. They hated them to the point they almost killed them. But he was used to redeem the family, even to the point where he saved their lives. And it was just great restoration through him. And so in me seeking for how that looked to redeem the family, that's what came to me, was that Joseph is like a prototype of that. And I think it's significance in that there was 12 of them. And so there's 12 again. But I'm just still trying to receive. Just see what else I get about that. I just wanted to submit that to see if that resonated with anybody. I think it's significant too. He not only saved his family, but he was used to provide resources to even the whole world at that time. So I think it may be something here.
Yeah, I'm definitely resonating with this, Simone. There's definitely some really deep revelation in that.
And because I think he may be a picture of arcing with the tree of life and gleaning from that fruit. Meaning, just like we were talking about how you arc with the tree of life, you draw from the 12 fruits. And I feel like Joseph may be a picture of that. An actual implementation, if you will, of how that can look.
Mm-hmm. I'm just seeing a whole connection with the 12 tribes, the 12 strands of DNA, the 12 breastplate stones, and 12's governmental. There's just so much in this, I think, linking the 12 star houses in the Maseroth. There's definitely something I've been shown recently about just linking all these together activates God's full government in your life.
Yeah, I think this may be a picture of how that 12 was meant to be a significant part of the root. Something something happened, but there was just even one that was acting as the taproot, if you will, that still brought restoration to the remaining roots that had problems, if you will.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
To the point that it even impacted the whole world. So it's a serious lesson of redemption here. Ooh, wow, I'm getting some serious
Keep going,
confirmation physically about this. I'm sorry, what were you saying, Jane?
Ooh, keep going, you're onto something. I wonder if we have to drink up Joseph. Taproot.
It's about the redemption of the Father in his house, and we're part of his household.
Yes.
Yeah, of the redeeming of the Father.
Yeah.
The redeeming of his inheritance. We're his inheritance. The inheritance are the sons that are thousands of the stars in the sky. It's the redeeming of the whole of all of who Father is, of all of his inheritance. He's our inheritance and we are his.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I can feel
Whoa.
that. I feel the anointing on this.
Yeah.
Makes me want to blow my shofar.
I think we get taproot. I feel like I'm sucking up from this taproot, Joseph. Like I'm sucking up some nutrition that the depth of his scroll and anointing has facilitated that. And you've posted, Jill, on here. It's really good. You've said the Father's redemption is nothing that we know, and I think that's what we're seeing. That the redemption story is way bigger than we've understood to date.
Yeah, you can't wrap your head around what he's about to do.
Yeah.
He's about to rock everybody and bless everybody in a way they've never, ever known and never expected. Just like the prodigal son.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's even stored up for those that don't even know him right now. And just prepared for years. And there's been a storing up for these. Just see, like we were talking about the inheritance, there's even been a storing up. Because that's what Joseph did too. He stored up. See, this could be, I think we're being shown this because of the abundant supply. Wow, Lord, wow.
Yeah, because we're pulling on heaven. We're pulling on heaven right now for revelation.
Yes. Wow.
Breathing in that revelation.
So the taproot gathers and even is access and supply for the roots that are going to need it later so that they can be restored. So that's why they have to go ahead and store up.
I've been seeing glimpses of the Father redeeming all in the end game, so there will be no more hell.
He said he desired that none should perish.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Jane. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's some separation goes on as a form of right judgment, but it's not an all-time, one-time, forever hell that exists in eternity and infinity. But maybe we need to go away and actually just entangle with Joseph and his scroll and honor him and really tap into this root and the revelation that he's got to download to us. Thinking about this whole redemption, and because it's interesting around unity again, I've really sensed that unity is such a part with the full redemption story can't happen until unity has become, well, I don't know what the word is, it's not better, but it's sort of in place. It's a key part, and I think that's why I had it so big on my scroll. So yeah, I think it's all connected. Redemption, unity, relationships. And forgiveness.
Sorry, I'm feeling or sensing something I've never experienced before. As I'm sitting at it, it feels as if my back is open, and I'm feeling something flowing out of, coming from behind me through my back out. I know I've heard of everlasting doors and all that type of stuff, so it's quite freaky. But as I said, I'm just sensing my back is being flayed open like a carcass, and something's flowing from the outside, from the behind of me through my back, through the front. So not exactly sure what that is.
Oh wow, yeah, I've never had that experience. That's probably really worth pursuing, so finding out what's happening there.
I have an idea, Frederick, but I'm gonna let you engage to see what you have a sense of what that is, and then maybe we can powwow later.
Okay.
Because it's a connection to one of our previous ascensions, possibly, where your identity was revealed. Because as soon as you said that, they came to me. But I'll wait till you finish receiving from heaven about that yourself and see what we can dialogue. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we probably have to wind up now. But anything anyone wants to say before we close?
This is delicious.
I typed it, but I just want to say I'm so honored to be on this with you guys, and so appreciate just being a part of this tonight. This was more than I could have asked for. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Jill. That's wonderful. It's lovely to have you. So glad you came.
Yeah, I'm grateful to God too. I feel like I'm in a different atmosphere right now.
Yeah.
And, it's like, wow, this is very significant. I feel I'm grateful to the Lord, and I'm grateful to be a part of this with you all. Thank you so much.
I just want to say also, the anointing in my life is corporate. I can't, this is how I know the last couple of months have been dry, because having to deal with some things, you have to deal with the stuff when God says deal with it. But I had to get rid of the stuff so I could be in a place where I could be alive in the way God has made me to be, in a corporate setting, in the family. And, I know what it is to be without family, but I so know what it is to be with his family.
Yeah, yeah. That's wonderful.
I wanted to add that when the taproot finally, it will finally hit underground water. There's an aquifer down there.
Oh, yes, there is, isn't there?
And that
Yeah.
may be some of the supply we've been talking about.
And the word that I got was nourishment quite a while back. So I think the Joseph thing and the actual taproot, like Bill was just talking about, that's where it gets the nourishment.
Yes, yes. And I wonder if, Simone, you've sent your taproot a lot deeper down such that you're getting this revelation now.
Well, I just want to say this. What's being highlighted to me now is how Joseph saw there was the 7 cows of plenty that he saw, and then he saw, or I could be a little rough about, but he saw the cows fat, and then he saw the cows skinny, but God still gave him the blueprint of how to provide not only for his family, but for the entire world at that time. And the nations came. He was able to provide for the nations and keep the nations from starving.
Mm.
And so that's still a picture of the taproot hitting that the aquifer way down deep. And man, I feel like it's a lie here. I think I might stay right here and please.
Yeah, I gotta say this, the aquifer, when Bill said the aquifer, I looked at it, and at first I thought it was copper. It was like a cistern. At first I thought it was copper, but then I looked again and it's gold. The water is gold. The water is gold. It's like a heaven. It's not like a solid gold. It's like a see-through gold, like a heavenly, I don't know. I can't put words to it. It's golden.
And I sense like Joseph's anointing is like the forerunner anointing for the billion soul harvest. Even though he was just one in the 12 who went ahead of them and sank deeper, he was able to bring in his whole family and then the nations of the world. Like the billion soul harvest is pretty much the nations of the world coming in. And as our roots go deeper, we'll be able to store for the nations of the world to come in and drink of it and partake of it too.
Yeah, so we'll just be able to call on abundant supply for nations.
Yes,
I just need to. I'm asking now if my taproot can go right down into that aquifer.
Mm-hmm.
Like drink that liquid gold. I've had a lot of liquid gold things, and I've been in like Melchizedek's Golden Mountain, and it's all liquid gold. And I come out and I'm like covered in liquid gold, and then it's almost like a chute. It overflows so fast. You go down this chute of liquid gold. It's as if you just see you go in there and you open the doors, and it just flows out liquid gold, which is probably a similar thing to what we're saying here.
Okay, this is really far-fetched, but I have to say it because it keeps coming into my spirit. Okay, so we're trees, and our roots, our taproot is gone, and it's gone straight into the aquifer. So we're now being fed by this aquifer that God has placed there for us to receive nutrients. So as we have hit this taproot or hit this aquifer, and we are soaking in, could be like oil, right? We're soaking in this water into us as trees. We could, this is really since we rule from heaven to earth, You can, okay, I'm just going to say this because this is how I operate. I see myself taking in this water, and I feel it in my cells. I feel it as a tree, and I feel it in earth as my cells. And I feel that if I went out now and went somewhere and God said breathe on them, I will breathe on something and life would come. I breathe on it, then things will shift. I'll breathe out. I will breathe out because I am being nourished by something Father has placed in a place that I had never expected. Something, we're just investigating. I don't even know exactly, but I know that I want to drink it in, I want to take it in, and I want to release it. Because if that's what's going to cause unity and a true, firm foundation, then we need to release it. And even if we, hover over states, hover over people, I don't know. I don't know. Anything's possible.
Oh, absolutely, Jill. I'm with you.
Good, Jill.
Jill,
Sorry, go for it.
I think that it corresponds with what I was saying about my back being open, is that the source of God was going to flow through us, that we were going to be even as Joseph stored up the storage and he was the one that then distributed, is that this supply, this abundance that God is giving us is going to be distributed through the saints, through us.
Like we're the storehouse. Like we're
we're
tabernacled with the Father and we're the storehouse. Oh my gosh, that's.
And I just had the breath I breathe out is spirit and life.
Joseph was a gate. And while Jill was talking, what came to me, because I've seen the image of the taproot going down to the aquifer, and I heard the phrase "deep calleth unto deep." So really, the aquifer is almost calling the taproot, and that's why the taproot finds the aquifer. And
it's calling us, Simone. Is that what you're saying? It's calling the sons. It's calling us, right? It's calling us deeper.
Yeah, because I believe the aquifer is God.
Whoa.
Yeah, I believe the aquifer is God, and He's calling us deep. That's what I just.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, this might explain why I breathe out gold dust.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm turning as a tree, I'm turning gold. And then a city in New Jerusalem was called gold, but it was such pure gold. It was transparent, but it was actually just pure gold. And my city now, I was birthing this city recently in New Jerusalem, and it was a golden city, and everything was gold. And we know we're made of gold dust. We were made of gold dust. So I think we've just got to go through this huge transformation of really absorbing the gold, the DNA in the gold, whatever that means.
Isn't our blood is congealed light, right? If our blood's congealed light, there was something about that. I'll have to do some research because there was something about that in gold.
I have a question. When Simone said that Joseph was a gate, I actually felt him go through me. Is that possible? I've never felt it before. Is that right? I mean, am I on the right track or wrong? That's wrong theology, not theology, but wrong sense, you know?
Donna, I want to venture and say that is in a nutshell what I was experiencing. Yes.
Because we're a door, we're a gate.
I was just about to say that, Jill. I think
We're a dimensional gate. We're a
Right.
four. We're no. The where there's a many dimensions, many, like there's many multiverses. We're a many dimensional gate.
Would
Yeah,
you
I've
all?
never-
Oh, go ahead.
Go on, go on, Simone.
I was just saying. I almost want to even gather to say that we are archetypes of Joseph Gates, if you will. That we are types of Joseph Gates.
Woo-hoo-hoo. You're flowing tonight. Woo!
You know what? You know what? Can I say this, Jane? You know why I think so? Because when we were arguing with the Tree of Life, I was getting a lot of sizzle, and I think this is the fruit of that. It was just because I was really drawing from the 12th fruit earlier. I was getting a lot of sizzle from it. You know, I was feeling a lot of vibration and everything. So I think just fruit of that, honestly. You know, I mean, that's what I'm gathering.
Yeah, that's really good.
And oh my gosh, I just remembered. You know what? When I was doing that, I saw this big root going down. So I really think this is the result of that. So to me, that's telling me that I need to do this a lot more. And I think this would be key to all of us, and even those that listen to this later that are called to be Joseph Archetype Gates. This is how we'll become Gates, like we're supposed to be.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's awesome. What did you say first off? It's about Joseph. The first sentence you said?
Who, me?
Yeah, the revelation about.
Oh, just now?
Yeah.
You said with the type of Joseph's gate.
The what?
A type of Joseph's gate.
Oh.
And you know what I was going to say to you earlier, Frederick. I don't know if you remember the ascension. It wasn't this ascension. It was one of the other ascensions. I think it was the Wednesday night ascension, where that was identified for you. Do you remember that?
Yeah, my very first ascension with the men in white linen, the two angels, financial angels with Melchizedek.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to remind you of that. I think this is lining up with that.
The weird thing is, I think I have more interaction with Melchizedek than any other heavenly host, which is just totally freaky.
Oof.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. You were really motoring, Frederick.
I feel like one of those guys going down a roller coaster, and my cheeks are flapping because of the speed, but it's fun.
Yeah. If you could cope with it. Oh, it's wonderful. Well, guys, I think we should close there and finish the recording. Bill, do you want to turn it off?